Welcome to Scotland now. So this is home for the next 3 nights. It's a little pod. It's pretty cool. It's got pretty much everything I need, as far as I can tell. Well, a bed and a toilet, a shower. I'm in the village of Lochinver, up on the northwest coast. And the view is quite nice. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me spin you. So, yeah, looking out across the water there. There would be a big mountain up in the distance, but as you can possibly tell, I seem to have brought the weather from the Faroe Islands with me. If you've watched the Faroe Islands video already, you'll see that it was a bit stormy and rainy and windy. So yeah, I got some shopping in Ullapool, and the drive here was sort of fairly torrential and horrible, but it has eased off a little bit, but it's still raining. Forecast the next few days looks mixed, but apparently we've got Storm Agnes, I think, which they're not quite sure where it's going to hit, so it might not get this far north, or it might. Anyway, I'll stop boring you with tales of Tesco and the weather. So yeah, I'm going to chill out for a little while here, and then head on out and take some pictures, possibly tomorrow, because the weather looks a bit better in the morning and I'm currently quite tired. So, see you soon. Morning, so it's Wednesday morning now. What time is it? It's about 8:30. So yeah, I think today I'm going to just basically do a little bit of explore up in the northwest of Scotland where I'm staying. Tonight we have Storm Agnes coming in apparently, which is going to mean heavy winds, heavy rain. I think mostly that's overnight, so might get a bit more of an explore in tomorrow as well. But yeah, for starters, I'm going to go and try and find the little sort of bothy hut on the front of my Photographing Scotland book, because weirdly it's not actually in the book, even though they used it on the front cover. But I think I've worked out where it is, so yeah, time to head off. So I stopped at the side of Loch Assynt to grab a picture of one of the little islands of trees, and I'm now pulled over a few miles just before Glencoe Bridge, because apparently there is a waterfall here that sort of drains out of a larger lake. So there's a bit of a path alongside the stream here, and I think the waterfall is just up there somewhere, so see if I can find it. Well, I made it, but it wasn't the easiest walk, and I'm really glad I've got my wellies on, because I had to walk through the river at points. The rest of it was just mud and loose rocks and not much fun. Anyway, there's the waterfall, which is actually quite pretty. So luckily the sun is still slightly off to that side. If I was here a couple of hours later, I think it would be directly overhead, which would be a bit annoying. The sky is quite bright, but yeah, I think if I bracket a couple of shots, it should be alright. So I think probably shooting from here is going to work. Some nice little bits of stream in the foreground to add to the motion. I might move a little bit further up, where there's a nice bit kind of gushing through between a narrower section of rock. I might also whiz the drone up to get an aspect of the waterfall with the lake it's coming from behind it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, right, take some pictures. shots of the waterfall done. Yeah, I had the drone up, and quite amusingly another drone appeared. So I think we took pictures of each other's drones. The other guy was up on top of the cliff rather than down here, so I don't know if he spotted me. He's probably wondering where the hell the other drone operator is. Anyway, I also trapped my little finger in my tripod legs when I was closing them down. I've got a big blood blister now, which is probably going to pop and bleed everywhere. Anyway, right, I've now got the awkward walk back, so I'm going to stop talking to you and yeah, try and head that way. I was going to say wellies are a bit of a must-have for this because of all the mud, but I just met two couples going the other way towards the waterfall, and they've still got perfectly clean trainers, and I don't know how. To be fair, I have come back a slightly different way, still got muddy, but it wasn't as bad. So yeah, maybe they picked a more sensible route and I did it wrong first time round. Anyway, they asked me if the waterfall was worth it. So I said yes, because I didn't want them to have walked all that way and then sort of said no, turn around and go back, because that would be really mean. Right, carry on. Right, quick stop off at Kailescu Bridge for a photo and a cup of coffee from the little van that was there. And then another 20 minutes up the road and I found the little boathouse. I think it's a boathouse, looks like a boathouse. Spin around. So yeah, very pretty little scene this, with the mountains in the background that might be appearing. I can't tell with this camera. Anywho, I'm going to wade across through this grass a little bit and then try and frame an image. Some nice cloud coming over the mountains in the distance, which I think will look quite cool as well. So yeah, see if I can get a picture. So I took a few photos over in the longer grass, and then I've just walked along the roadside here. There's actually a little track that leads down to the boathouse, because it doesn't go onto the water. I was calling it a boathouse, it's not. Hut, shed, whatever. Yes, tracks leading down. So I'll sort of use those as a line into the frame, and then the mountains behind. So back on the 35mm here, which lets me sort of fit in all of the mountains, which looks quite nice. So I think probably that's it for pictures from here. I might grab my film camera out of the car and go and do some closer up shots of the shed with it, because that might make for a nice subject as well. So yeah, pack all this stuff back up into the bag and go and get the other camera. Right, so I just whizzed a couple of images off with the film camera. So I've got a black and white film in, I don't know if I mentioned that before. So yeah, I'll see how they come out. Right, I'm going to aim vaguely back towards Lochinver now to get some lunch. I'm going to take a slightly different route to the one I took here and go around the coast road. So I think hopefully try and get some shots of the lighthouse at Store, I think it's called, en route. So yeah, storm hasn't arrived yet, but it is clouding over. I don't mind the clouds, they're okay, better for photos. They're quite milky and white, weird textures. So I've not got back for my lunch yet because I thought I would divert to the lighthouse. Yeah, it's quite cool. We'll some nice waves starting to appear on the rocks down there as well, so I might see if I can grab a shot of those in a minute. Apparently you can rent the lighthouse, stay in it, which would be quite cool, unless the flashing light keeps you awake at night. Well, I've had a spot of lunch, and then I made a start on the river loop walk at Lochinver, which is a few kilometres. It goes along the river and then kind of up across higher ground, not too high, and then loops back to the village again. But I got to outside the trees and suddenly the wind hit, so I think Storm Agnes is on her way, and I figured out being on exposed land probably wasn't the best idea, so I'm retracing my steps back through the wood. Where have I gone? There we go. So hopefully, as you can see, nice river, lots of trees. So I'll probably try and grab a few images here as I retrace my steps back to the village. So a couple of the moss-covered tree trunks look pretty neat. So bagged a couple of shots there. I'm just walking back along the river now, and I can see up ahead there's a couple of people out on one of the little piers doing a spot of fishing. So I might actually put my 135 on and just see if I can grab a picture of them looking down the river, which might make a nice shot. They weren't fishing, they were letting their dog do a poo, and now they're not on the pier anymore. So I'm going to keep walking. So the river's pretty cool here, sort of swooping around a little S-bend with lots of foam and spray. Problem is, I can't really see how to get to it to take a photo, at least not from just here, so I'm going to hope around the corner maybe there's an option. So I've popped on the ND filter. So at F9 that's giving me half a second. I don't know how well that shows up, but it looks pretty cool with the motion of the water swirling around. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. May just see if there's any other angles here that work before I pack the camera away again. So the storm seemed to persist through most of the morning. It's just coming up to midday now, and I've just driven a few miles up the road to what's called a all-access walk. So it's a sort of well-surfaced footpath. Just goes for a mile or so from a lay-by. Has a nice view, little viewpoint at the top of the hill. So I've shot a couple of, well, what will probably be panoramic format images there, and then I'm just going to work my way back. There's a couple of small lock-ins on the way, a little footbridge and some little huts next to them, so I will see if they're worth a photo as well. So there's certainly quite a few nice viewpoints on this path. So yeah, I'm heading back towards the car now. I just stumbled across this little, if you can see it, maybe, somewhere here. There's a little footbridge, anyway, with a sort of nice view to the mountains in the background. Ah, there we go. So yeah, that makes for a nice shot. I'm going to continue on. I think the second small lock has another of the little huts that I just photographed back there as well. I'm not sure what they're for, they're locked, but they seem to have solar power and wind power. And one of them said vacant on it, like it's a toilet door. But yeah, maybe it's a toilet, it seemed a bit big for a toilet. Yeah. If you know, say in the comments. Anyway, right, carry on. For the afternoon stop, I've just driven a little way out of town to a small lock. There's a footbridge over it which looks like it's possibly quite pretty. It's got a nice view to the sort of sugarloaf shaped mountain behind, so I should do a little explore here and see what I can find. Well, I found this little lump to stand on which gives a nice view down here to this small lock with the mountain behind my head, next to my head. There we go. I was just waiting to see if the sun comes out actually. I mean, it's quite nice as it is, but I think possibly the sun is going to... It is quite breezy here. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few minutes, see if the sun shows up, but if not, I've got a shot already. Well, the sun's currently behind that big chunk of cloud there, so what I think I might do while I'm waiting is walk down over the other side of this bit of foreground rock, and I think maybe then there'll be a composition with that small island there with the trees on it, with the mountain up in the background. So yeah. Alright, I've got down to the water's edge and someone has very nicely put a little sort of pile of rocks here that would form a lovely leading line were it not for the fact that the mountain is over there and it's immediately behind the trees on that little island. So this doesn't quite work. I think what I'm probably going to do is just go a little bit over to the right, and that's going to move the trees away from the mountain, I think. I don't think I can go left because there's a kind of river outlet thing there. And then I think also the mountain would start to disappear behind the outcrop. So yeah, I'm going to go left. I mean right. Been a long day. Okay, so I think this kind of works. And I'm probably going to switch from the 35mm lens that I had on earlier to something a little bit closer. I'm kind of wondering actually if the 85 in portrait format will work. Might be a little bit tight, maybe it needs the 50. I shall have a look and see. I think the sun is almost going to make an appearance, so it'll be nice if the sun casts a little bit of light on the island with the trees, because currently that's blending into the background a little bit. I've actually done one shot with the lens set to f1.7 focused on the trees, hoping the background being a bit blurrier will make them stand out some more, but I don't know how well that'll actually work. It's kind of hard to tell from the back of the camera. So yeah, the sun is there, it's a bit sort of hazy. Let's see if it gets bright enough to actually do anything in the next minute or two. Right, I think that'll do for a little explore of this loch. Tomorrow I leave here, driving down to Glencoe, so should be stopping off at the King's House Hotel again, which I seem to do every time I come to Scotland, but it is quite nice there. Not sure what I'm going to shoot down there yet, it depends somewhat on what the weather's doing, but there's some waterfalls midway down the valley, which are tucked away from the road a little bit that I've not photographed before, so I think probably my plan is to try and shoot those if conditions allow, but I haven't actually checked the weather for tomorrow yet. Anyway, right, almost back at the car. I'll see you tomorrow. Morning. So last day in Scotland. The drive to Glencoe yesterday was mad windy and mad rainy, so I didn't stop for many photos on the way, but once I did get to Glencoe I made the effort to find the waterfalls I mentioned before, so managed to get a few photos there. The wind was still a bit of a problem, so I think there's going to be some blurry trees and stuff, so not the best conditions, but at least I know where it is for next time. So it's the day after that now, and I'm heading back south to England. I'm taking the route around the coast from Glencoe, so I've just stopped off here at Castle Stalker, grabbed a couple of shots of it looking rather lovely out in the loch. Nice moody skies and no rain and very little wind, so that's good. So next stop is to sort of head back inland. There's another castle, name of which escapes me. Urquhart maybe? No, that's the one. Very useless at planning. Possibly another castle to take photos of anyway, and see where I end up after that. So it was actually Kilchurn Castle, the other one I was approaching. Should have put my wellies on, it's a bit squelchy underfoot. Anywho, I'm just making my way across the field to see if there is a suitable viewpoint with a bit of loch foreground. Moment. There is a handy boardwalk, although it's still very squelchy. And there was also a sign at the entrance to this field saying no camping, so needless to say there's some tents at the side of the shore of the loch. Anyway, I'll flip you around so you can possibly see the castle up ahead. The rickety boardwalk seems to do the job, so I think we just need to get over this little rise and hopefully have a nice view. It turns out the campers is actually a bunch of guys fishing, so I guess we'll let them off. Annoyingly, there's some, not scaffolding, some metallic fencing, you know, like you get around concerts and stuff. Metal fences, you know. Anyway, there's a bunch of fencing around the front of the castle, which spoils this a little bit, but maybe it won't be so obvious in the final image. So I took a shot out there with a little sort of grassy chunk in the foreground. And I've just found quite a cool tree here, so I'm going to see if I can use this as a foreground as well. Spin you round. This tree. And castle over there. That's a train you can hear. So I think I just need to move up slightly. Up here. Try and not upset the sheep. Hello. Well, I grabbed a shot from around here, but I think it might work slightly better over to the right, so that the castle here is actually sort of under this side of the tree. The tree's leaning that way, so at the minute it's sort of falling out of the frame. I think it would be better leaning into the frame, maybe. Maybe something like this. Right, we've grabbed a few different images there of the castle, so I'm now going to head back to the car, leave the chaps fishing to their relaxing smoke. Right, so heading towards Glasgow. I'll head past Glasgow. I haven't particularly planned any other photo stops en route. Gone the wrong way. So this may be the end of the video. If there are any more photos, I'll stick them up after the castle one. But yes, on the basis that I won't speak to you any further, thanks for joining me on this rainy trip around Scotland, which was following my rainy trip around the Faroe Islands. And stay tuned, and I'll see you again soon. I think probably the next video is likely to be another one looking at some film photography. So I'm currently making my way through a black and white roll. Whoops. And I'm also planning on going to London in a few weeks to shoot a roll of Cinestill 800. See if the results are up to the hype or something. Right, enough yakking. Thanks again for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you soon. Cheerio.